Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Econobox Garage. In this week's episode, we're going to continue work on the Bugeye, and most of that work will be done on making and installing the patch panels for the outer sills on both the driver and passenger side, and also repairing what I call the battery bump in the firewall. So that's the goal for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. When I cut out all the stuff that I needed to replace in here, I decided to leave this upper edge of the outer sill in place to give me a fixed reference point putting things back together. I'm not overly concerned with where this ends up down here as long as it lines up here, and this point remains fixed relative to the wheel arch on the bonnet. So as long as the bonnet and this line back up, I should be good to go. So if I'd have cut this off completely across through here, it would have been quite a chore, I think, to reestablish this point here. So by leaving that in, that's one less thing to worry about. And I did the same on the driver's side as well. So next up is I'm going to just get this clamped into place and then start to reestablish the lip on the front of this here. Okay, so I have this the Cleco fasteners in here now, and holding this in position. I've cleaned up this edge here where I'm going to tack this little strip on here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tack this into position here. It is deliberately wider and longer than what I actually need. So I'll tack it in on this side in a few spots. Then once that's done, I'll take it off and I'll weld it from both sides, so that I can grind it back and end up with a fairly a bit of a rounded edge to match the original. I did mention earlier that there's an actual shut plate that goes between this point here and goes in behind the lip I'm just about to put on here. But I have learned that that goes on after this. So I'm going to continue getting this done. I'll get it all cut, adjusted, and welded in. Well, I've got this started on here, and I'm going to continue to weld it, put the tacks in all the way along here. Then I'll do the same on the inside of that corner, and then just grind down to what I need. And it's just got a nice smooth shape to it there. That's an extremely close match to the old one, and a lot fewer holes in it. Now this is another welding tip I got from Fitzy's Fabrication, and Fitzy's videos have been extremely helpful in this whole process of working on the Bugeye. It's the first major welding project I've undertaken, so a big thank you to him, and I'll put a link to his channel and to the video that I learned this little method from in particular in the description below. So here's the replacement panel. I've got all the welding done. I've got a bead all the way along this edge here on the outside, and that'll be all ground down to the surface here, replicated. Let's see, here's the original, and then there's the replacement. Obviously I've got to clean up all the welds. The idea of this is there's also a weld all along the inside. There's lots of metal in there to be able to shape that nicely. So that'll be the next step. I'll get that all ground down, clean up the weld in here, and then once that's all done, we'll put it into place on there. So there we have it, all welded in, ground back, and we'll have to put some filler in there. I was expecting that, so, but all in all, I'm really happy with that. And remember, I mentioned a bit earlier in the video that I left this spot here in deliberately to give me a reference spot, so I didn't have to worry about it. I'll basically, if it lined up with the bonnet before, it'll line up again. So I'm very, very happy with how that's turned out. So I'll get a shot of primer on that, and we'll get to work on the other side. Before I go and work on the outer sill on the driver's side, I think I'm going to tackle this little spot here. See, that's rusted right through there. So I have my little patch that I cut out of one of the pieces of the floor that I took out. And I mentioned in an earlier video, the rib is pretty much exactly the same as on the floors as it is on the firewall here. So first order of business, I'm going to cut out right across on this line here, and probably right about there to start with, and as close to the sides as I can to give me a good start. So my little patch is held in place by the magnet there, and then next step will be to weld it all in. Well, it's not pretty, but it's solid and it's in there, so I'm going to go with that. We'll put a little bit of filler in to smooth it all out, but generally I'm pretty happy with that. Well, I'd have to say that was a productive few days. I got the outer sill repaired on the passenger side, just at the front there where it was rusted through. I got, I call it the battery bump, repaired. Just up there. It doesn't look too pretty, but I'll just get some filler on there and it'll tidy that up quite nicely. And I also was able to get the driver's side of the outer sill repaired at the front where it had rusted through. I will take some filler on that as well to make it nice and smooth, but it's in there nice and solid, and I'm quite pleased with the result on that. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm glad I left this part of the outer sill in place, so it gave me the positive reference point for rebuilding this front corner. As I mentioned earlier, I have parts on order, and they are actually on their way. And one of those parts is this replacement, or is this reinforcing piece that goes across the floor here. And I can't really see it, but it's rusted right through along here and along here. And it's also badly rusted at the front here. And it's bad underneath here too. So what I need to do in the floor here is obviously replace this. You know, the lip that comes across here, I need to recreate that on this side so the floor has something to weld to there. And then the other repair I'll have to do is once I cut this piece out, I'll have to rebuild this section here and reinstate the lip on that. But I'm not going to pull anything apart until I actually have the parts on hand. And but as I said, order is on its way. Included in that order are the end plates for each of the outer sills here. So I've got one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. They basically fill from here across to the outside face and weld into the lip here. That's why I drilled the holes for future plug welds. So all in all, I think a productive few days. So I'm looking forward to having that order of parts arrive, and then we can get to work on wrapping up the floors and the outer sills. Well, that wraps up another week in the garage. Very happy with progress this week with getting those patch panels done on both outer sills and on the firewall. Please be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment. Also, hit the little bell icon so that you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.